I never thought a car could mean so much. Not until the day it was taken from me. Not until I realized that what I thought was love was actually control wearing a gentle mask. Let me take you back to the beginning. To the days when everything felt ordinary. When I still believed that family meant safety. When I still believed that being kind was enough. I was wrong. I lived in a quiet neighborhood where mornings smelled like fresh bread and wet earth. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone. Where the milkman knocked twice before leaving bottles at the door. Where the newspaper boy whistled the same old tune every single day. My routine was simple. Predictable. Comforting. I woke up at dawn just as the first light touched the rooftops. I'd make tea the way my husband used to like it. Strong with just a hint of cardamom and a little jaggery stirred in slowly until it melted. I'd pour it into his favorite cup, the one with the small chip on the rim that I never replaced. And I'd sit by the window watching the world wake up. The street vendors setting up their carts. The school children in crisp uniforms, chattering and laughing. The stray dog who slept near the gate every night and stretched lazily every morning. And then I'd see it, my car, parked right there under the old neem tree, gleaming softly in the morning light. It wasn't new. The paint had faded a little over the years. There were tiny scratches on the side from that time I misjudged a narrow lane. The seat covers were old-fashioned, floral-patterned, stitched by a tailor who had long since retired. But it was mine. That car. It held more than just metal and machinery. It carried memories. It carried pieces of my soul. My late husband and I had bought it together years ago when things were hard. When every rupee mattered. We saved for 2 years. We cut down on luxuries. We argued about colors. He wanted silver, I wanted white. We compromised on cream. He used to drive me everywhere. To the market on Saturday mornings. To family gatherings where we'd arrive late and leave early. To hospitals in the middle of the night when our son was burning with fever. I remember sitting in the passenger seat watching him drive. His hands steady on the wheel. His eyes focused. His lips humming old songs. And after he passed, that car became my companion. It took me to the temple on quiet mornings when I needed to feel close to him. It took me to visit old friends who lived across town, friends who remembered him and spoke his name with warmth. It took me to the countryside when the walls of the house felt too close, when I needed air, when I needed to breathe. That car wasn't just transportation. It was my freedom. My independence. My last piece of him. I didn't need anyone's permission to go anywhere. I didn't have to wait for someone to drop me. I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to explain. I had my keys. I had my dignity. And I thought my family understood that. I thought they respected it. I was wrong. My son had gotten married 2 years before all of this began. His wife, my daughter-in-law, was beautiful, educated, confident. She had studied in the city. She spoke English fluently. She dressed in modern clothes and carried herself with a kind of elegance that made people turn and look. Everyone said he was lucky. I said it too. At first she was polite, respectful. She called me Ma with a soft smile. She helped in the kitchen, though not often. She asked my opinion on things, what vegetables to buy, which sari looked better, whether the living room curtains should be changed. I felt hopeful. Thought maybe this is good. Maybe she'll bring new energy into this house. Maybe she'll take care of my son in ways I couldn't. But slowly things changed. It started small. So small I didn't even notice at first. She'd rearranged the furniture without asking. Just little things. The sofa moved a bit to the left. The bookshelf shifted to the corner. The old wooden chair my husband used to sit in moved to the storeroom. It was blocking the flow, Ma, she'd say with a smile. Flow. I didn't know what that meant. But I nodded. She'd throw away old utensils I loved, calling them outdated or unhygienic. The brass vessels my mother-in-law had given me. The old pressure cooker that had cooked 1,000 meals. Ma, we have new ones now. These are just taking up space. Space. As if the house was too small for memories. She started managing the household money, saying it was more efficient that way. My son handed over his salary to her. She made budgets. She tracked expenses. She decided what we needed and what we didn't. I didn't mind at first. I thought maybe she was just modern. Maybe this is how young people did things now. Maybe I was old-fashioned. But then she started talking about my car. It began casually. At dinner one night. "Ma, why do you need such an old car? It's embarrassing when guests come." I looked up from my plate. Embarrassing? You know what I mean, Ma. It looks outdated. People notice these things. People. Yes, people. My friends. Relatives. It doesn't give a good impression. I stayed quiet. I didn't know what to say. A few days later she brought it up again. "Ma, the maintenance costs too much." I was looking at the bills. "Do you know how much we spend on that car every month?" I knew. I paid for it myself from the small pension I got. But I didn't say that. I just nodded. "We could use that money for better things, Ma. For the house. For our son's education fund." Our son. My grandson. A sweet boy who loved sitting in the backseat of my car, waving at neighbors as we drove past. And then one morning while I was watering the plants she said it. "Ma, you barely drive anymore. What's the point of keeping it?" I stopped. Water dripped from the watering can onto my feet. "I drive every other day," I said quietly. "To where?" "The market is 10 minutes away. You could walk. Or we could order groceries online now, Ma. It's so much easier." I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I saw it then. She wasn't concerned. She was calculating. But I stayed quiet. Because I thought maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe she was just young. Just practical. I didn't know she was preparing. The cracks began to show at dinner one evening. We were all sitting together. My son, his wife, their little boy, and me. The conversation was light. Casual. My grandson was telling me about school, about a drawing competition he'd won. I was smiling, listening, asking questions. And then she said it. Casually. Like it was nothing. "Ma, I was talking to a dealer today. He said he could give us a good price for your car." I stopped chewing. The room went quiet. I could hear the ceiling fan creaking. The sound of a pressure cooker whistling in the distance from a neighbor's house. "What?" I said slowly. "Your car, Ma. I was just thinking, it's been sitting there and we could really use the space. Maybe even get something new for the family. Something more modern." I looked at my son. He was focused on his food. He didn't look up. "Beta," I said slowly, carefully, "I use that car. I need it." "Ma, be practical," she said, her voice sweet but firm. Like she was explaining something to a child. "You're getting older. Driving isn't safe for you anymore. What if something happens? What if you get into an accident?" "I'm 62. Not 90. She laughed lightly. A laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm just thinking of you, Ma. We all are. Right?" She looked at my son. He finally looked up. But not at me. At her. "Mom, maybe she's right. We can always call a cab if you need to go somewhere." As if I was a guest in my own life. As if I needed permission. Arrangements. Schedules. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Something heavy. But I didn't say anything. I just nodded slowly and finished my meal in silence. My grandson looked at me with big worried eyes. "Dottie, are you okay?" I smiled and ruffled his hair. "I'm fine, Beta." But I wasn't. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the house. The hum of the refrigerator. The distant bark of a dog. The whisper of wind through the neem tree. I kept thinking about that conversation. About the way she looked at me. About the way my son didn't defend me. Didn't even look at me. And I realized something. She wasn't worried about me. She was worried about control. About authority. About who had power in this house. And she wanted to make sure it was her. Over the next few weeks I started noticing more. Little things. Big things. She had begun making decisions without consulting me. Decisions that affected the whole house. She changed the grocery supplier because she found one online that was cheaper. The vegetables were never as fresh. The rice wasn't the same quality. But she didn't ask. He just did it. She repainted the living room. My favorite soft yellow became a cold, modern gray. "It looks more elegant, Ma. More sophisticated." Sophisticated. As if warmth was outdated. She even moved my late husband's photograph from the main wall to a small corner shelf in the hallway, where no one would really see it, where it would just fade into the background. When I asked why, she said, "It's just decor, Ma. Don't be so sentimental. We need to move forward, not live in the past." Sentimental. As if love was a weakness. As if remembering was a flaw. I tried talking to my son. I tried telling him how I felt. How small I was starting to feel in my own home. But he was always busy. Always distracted. Staring at his phone. Watching TV. Preparing for work. And when I did manage to get his attention, when I sat him down and said, "Beta, I need to talk to you," he'd listen for a minute. Maybe two. And then he'd say, "Mom, she's just trying to help. She's managing everything so you don't have to. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it." That phrase became his shield. And her weapon. The mornings became quieter after that. Not peaceful. Just quiet. I still made tea. I still sat by the window. But I didn't hum anymore. I didn't smile at the newspaper boy. I didn't wave at Mrs. Iyer from next door. I just watched. And I noticed. I noticed how she had started sitting in my usual spot at the dining table. How she had rearranged the kitchen so that I couldn't find things easily anymore. How she had started answering phone calls meant for me. "Ma's resting," she'd say sweetly into the phone. "I'll let her know you called." But she never did. I'd find out days later that my friend Lakshmi had called. That my cousin had tried to reach me. That the temple committee had asked if I could help with the upcoming festival. "Oh, I forgot to tell you, Ma. Sorry. But it kept happening. One afternoon I was sitting in the veranda when I overheard her talking to someone on the phone. Her voice was low, but I could still hear. Yes, finally getting some control over things here. No, she doesn't really do much anymore. I'm handling everything. The house, the finances, everything. It's better this way, trust me." She laughed. A light, easy laugh. As if managing me was just another task on her list. I sat very still. I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. I just listened. And I understood. This wasn't about helping. This was about taking over. Then one morning I woke up and looked out the window. The space under the neem tree was empty. My car was gone. For a moment I thought maybe I was still asleep. Maybe I was dreaming. I blinked. Looked again. Still empty. I got dressed quickly and went downstairs. She was in the kitchen humming a tune, making breakfast. "Where's my car?" I asked. She didn't even turn around. "Oh, I sold it." The world stopped. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what she'd just said. "You've what?" "I sold it, Ma." She cracked an egg into the pan, still not looking at me. "The dealer came yesterday. He gave us a decent price. I already deposited the money into the account. We can use it for the new fridge we've been needing." My heart was pounding. I could feel it in my chest, in my throat, in my ears. "You sold my car?" Without asking me. "Ma, we talked about this." She finally turned around, wiping her hands on a towel. Her expression was calm. Too calm. "You didn't need it anymore. It was just sitting there. We didn't talk about anything. You mentioned it once and I said no." "Ma, you're being dramatic." She sighed like I was exhausting her. "It's done. There's no point making a scene now." A scene. She was treating me like a child throwing a tantrum over a toy. I heard footsteps behind me. My son walked in, adjusting his tie, ready for work. "Beta." My voice shook. "Did you know about this?" He hesitated. Then nodded. "Mom, we needed the money. The car was just sitting there." "It wasn't just sitting there." My voice rose. I couldn't stop it. "It was mine. It was mine." He flinched. I took a breath. Steadied myself. "How much did you sell it for?" I asked quietly. She waved her hand dismissively. 15,000. 15,000. That car was worth at least 60,000. Maybe 70. She had practically given it away. "You sold it for nothing," I whispered. "Ma, don't be dramatic. It was old. No one would pay more for a car like that." I stared at her. And for the first time I saw it clearly. She wasn't careless. She wasn't thoughtless. She was cruel. She knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted to strip me of the one thing that made me feel like I still mattered. Like I was still a person with choices. With freedom. And my son had let her. He stood there silent, looking at the floor. Beta, I said softly. Do you remember when we bought that car? He looked up. You were 10 years old. Your father and I had been saving for years. We took you to the showroom. You sat in the driver's seat and pretended to drive. You said, Papa, one day I'll drive you and Mama everywhere. His eyes softened. Just a little. That car. My voice broke. That car has your father in it. It has our life in it. It has me in it. Silence. And you let her sell it for 15,000 rupees. He opened his mouth. Closed it. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't think. No, I said quietly. You didn't. I turned and walked back to my room. I closed the door. And I sat on the edge of my bed. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there. Feeling hollow. Feeling erased. That I didn't leave my room for hours. I sat there staring at the wall, feeling the weight of what had happened settle over me like a thick, suffocating blanket. They had taken my car. Not borrowed it. Not asked to use it. Taken it. Sold it. Erased it from my life as if it meant nothing. As if I meant nothing. I heard footsteps outside my door. A soft knock. Dottie. My grandson's voice. Small. Bird. I wiped my face quickly even though I hadn't been crying. Come in, Beta. He pushed the door open slowly and peeked inside. His big eyes were full of concern. Are you okay, Dottie? I smiled. The kind of smile you give when you're trying to protect someone from your pain. I'm fine, sweetheart. He came and sat beside me on the bed. His small hand found mine. Mama said your car is gone. She said you don't need it anymore. I looked down at his innocent face. What do you think, Beta? Do I need it? He thought for a moment, his brow furrowed in concentration. I think you liked it. You always smiled when we went for drives. My heart squeezed. I did like it. Very much. Then why did Mama sell it? Out of the mouths of children. I don't know, Beta, I said honestly. Sometimes people don't understand why things matter to other people. He nodded slowly, processing this. I'm sorry, Dottie. Don't be sorry, my love. It's not your fault. He hugged me tightly. And in that moment I realized something. I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting to show him that people, especially older people, especially women, deserved respect. Deserved dignity. Because if I let this happen without a word, what would he learn? That it was okay to dismiss people when they got old? That it was okay to take away someone's freedom because you thought you knew better? No. I couldn't let that be the lesson. That evening I came down for dinner. She looked surprised to see me. Ma, you didn't have to come down. I could have sent food to your room. This is my house, I said calmly. I eat at my table. Something flickered in her eyes. Surprise maybe. Or irritation. We ate in silence. My son kept glancing at me, opening his mouth as if to say something, then closing it again. Finally he spoke. Mom, I really am sorry. I should have talked to you first. I looked at him. You should have. We really needed the money, and she said, I repeated. And you listened. Without thinking. Without asking me. I thought you'd understand. Understand. I put down my fork slowly. Beta, let me ask you something. If someone sold your car without asking you, would you understand? He shifted uncomfortably. That's different. How? I used my car. For work. And I used mine. For living. Silence. She jumped in, her voice tight. Ma, with all due respect, you're making this bigger than it is. It was just a car. We'll get you a new one someday if you really need it. It wasn't just a car, I said quietly. And you know that. I know it was old and expensive to maintain and taking up space. It was mine. My voice was steady, but there was steel in it now. It was in my name. It was bought with money your father-in-law and I saved. It was legally mine. And you sold it without my consent. Her face went pale. What are you saying? I'm saying that what you did was illegal. The room went completely silent. My son stared at me. Mom, you're not seriously. I'm not saying I'll do anything, I said calmly. I'm just stating a fact. You can't sell someone else's property without their permission. That's the law. She let out a shaky laugh. Ma, this is family. You're not going to take legal action against your own family. I looked at her for a long moment. I hope I don't have to. I stood up and left the table. Behind me I heard her voice, panicked now. She's bluffing. She wouldn't dare. But I heard the tremor in her words. She wasn't sure anymore. Good. That night I made a phone call. To a lawyer I knew from the temple community. Mr. Sharma. A kind man, older than me, semi-retired but still sharp. Namaste, Mr. Sharma. This is Kamala. I need some advice. Of course, Kamalaji. What's the matter? I explained the situation. Calmly. Hurry. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Kamalaji, what they did is indeed illegal. Selling property that's registered in your name without your written consent is a punishable offense. You could file a police complaint. You could take them to court. My chest tightened. I don't want to do that, Mr. Sharma. They're my family. I understand. But you need to know your rights. You need to know that you're not powerless here. What should I do? First, get documentation. The car's registration papers. Proof that it was sold. Find out who bought it and for how much. Then if you want, we can send a legal notice. Sometimes that's enough to make people realize the seriousness of what they've done. And if I want to get the car back? That depends on who bought it and whether they're willing to sell it back. But if it was sold fraudulently, there are legal ways to challenge the sale. I felt something shift inside me. Hope. Not revenge. Not anger. Just possibility. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Anytime, Kamalaji. And remember, you have every right to stand up for yourself. After I hung up, I sat in the darkness of my room. I thought about my husband. About what he would say if he were here. He'd always been a man of principle. Of dignity. He never raised his voice, but he never let anyone disrespect him either. Kamala, he used to say, being kind doesn't mean being weak. Never forget that. I hadn't forgotten. I just needed to remember. The next morning, I began my quiet investigation. I went through my papers. Found the car's registration. The insurance documents. Everything that proved it was mine. Then I went to the bank and asked for statements showing the 15,000 rupee deposit. The manager, Mr. Patel, looked concerned. Is everything all right, Kamalaji? Just need some records, Mr. Patel. For personal reasons. He printed everything out for me. No questions asked. Next, I visited the local car dealership. The owner, Rajesh, knew me. I'd brought my car there for servicing many times over the years. Kamalaji. Long time. How's the car? That's what I wanted to ask you about, Rajesh. Did anyone approach you recently about buying an old cream-colored sedan? My model. His face changed. Actually, yes. A man came in about 2 weeks ago. Said he'd bought one and wanted to know its market value. I told him it could fetch at least 60,000, maybe more if well maintained. My heart started racing. Did he say who he bought it from? Some woman. He didn't mention names. Said he got it for cheap, wanted to resell it for profit. Do you know where I can find him? Rajesh hesitated. Kamalaji, is something wrong? That was my car, Rajesh. It was sold without my permission. His eyes widened. Oh no. Kamalaji, I'm so sorry. But I didn't know. It's not your fault. Do you have his contact information? He nodded and quickly wrote down a name and phone number. His name is Arun Mehta. He's a small-time dealer. Buys and resells cars. Thank you, Rajesh. You've helped me more than you know. That evening I called Arun Mehta. Hello. Mr. Mehta, my name is Kamala. I believe you recently purchased a cream-colored sedan. Silence. Who is this? I'm the original owner of that car. It was sold to you without my knowledge or consent. More silence. Look, lady, I bought that car fair and square. I paid for it. I have a receipt. I'm sure you do. But the person who sold it to you didn't have the legal right to do so. The car was registered in my name. I never signed any transfer documents. I could hear him breathing heavily on the other end. This isn't my problem. I'm not blaming you, Mr. Mehta. But I am informing you that the sale was fraudulent. If you'd like to avoid legal complications, I suggest we talk. I'm willing to buy the car back from you. At a fair price. I paid $15,000. I'll give you $25,000. Another pause. $30,000. And I keep whatever profit I make if I've already promised it to someone else. $27,000. Final offer. He thought about it. Fine. But I need to move it fast. I don't want trouble. Neither do I, Mr. Mehta. Neither do I. We arranged to meet the next day, but I didn't tell anyone in the house what I was doing. I moved through my days quietly. I cooked. I cleaned. I smiled at my grandson. But inside I was planning. Calculating. Preparing. She noticed the change in me. One morning she said, "Ma, you seem different." Different how? I don't know. Calmer maybe. I smiled. I'm just accepting things as they are. She looked relieved. I'm glad, Ma. I knew you'd come around. Change is hard, but it's for the best. Yes, I said softly. Change is hard. But I wasn't accepting anything. I was just choosing my battles carefully. The neighbors started noticing too. Mrs. Iyer stopped me one morning while I was walking to the market. "Kamala, I heard about your car." "I'm so sorry." Word had spread. Of course it had. In neighborhoods like ours, nothing stayed secret for long. "Thank you, Mrs. Iyer. If you need anything, a ride anywhere, just let me know." "I appreciate that." She lowered her voice. "Between you and me, Kamala, what she did wasn't right. Everyone's talking about it." I felt a flicker of validation. "People talk," I said diplomatically. "Yes, but they're right this time. You've always been so kind, so respectful. You didn't deserve that." I squeezed her hand. "Thank you for saying that. My friend Lakshmi called that afternoon." "Kamala, I just heard. Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't want to burden you." "Burden me?" "Kamala, we've been friends for 30 years. Your burdens are my burdens." Her voice was fierce, protective. "What are you going to do?" "I'm working on something." "Good. Because that girl has no right. No right at all." "Lakshmi." "Don't defend her, Kamala. I know you. You're too kind. But kindness has limits." He was right. Kindness did have limits. And I'd reached mine. Meanwhile, she grew bolder. She started redecorating again. Brought in new furniture. Got rid of old curtains, old cushions, old photo frames. "Ma, don't you think the house looks better now? More modern." "It looks different," I said. "Different is good." She invited her friends over one afternoon. I heard them laughing in the living room. "Finally got rid of that old car," I heard her say. "It was such an eyesore." Her friends murmured in agreement. And honestly, she wasn't even using it properly. Just sitting there, taking up space. "You did the right thing." "I know. But she's been so dramatic about it. You'd think I sold her jewelry or something." They laughed. I stood in the hallway listening. And I felt something harden inside me. Not anger. Something colder. Resolve. My grandson came to me that night. "Dottie, are you sad?" "Why do you ask, Beta? You don't smile as much anymore." I pulled him close. "I'm not sad, sweetheart. I'm just thinking." "About what?" "About what's right and what's wrong." He looked up at me with those big, innocent eyes. "Mama says you're upset about the car. But she says it's okay because you're old and old people don't need cars." My heart clenched. "Beta, do you think old people don't need things?" He shook his head. "No. I think everyone needs things. Things that make them happy." "You're a smart boy." "Dottie, I miss our drives." "Me too, Beta." "Me too." He hugged me tightly. And in that moment I made a promise to myself. I would get that car back. Not for revenge. Not to prove a point. But because it was mine. Because I mattered. Because I refused to disappear. A few days later, strange rumors started circulating in the neighborhood. I was at the market when I heard it. Two women talking near the vegetable stall. "Did you hear? Someone bought an old cream-colored car. Just like Kamala's. Really? Who? No one knows. But it was seen near that big farmhouse on the edge of town. You know, the one that businessman Varma owns. Varma? Why would he buy an old car? That's what everyone's wondering. I pretended not to listen, but my heart was racing. The car was at Varma's farmhouse. Perfect. I'd called in a favor. Varma was an old family friend. His wife and I had been in the same temple group for years. When I'd called him and explained my situation, he'd been more than willing to help. Kamalaji, of course. I'll buy the car from this meta fellow and keep it at my farmhouse until you're ready. Don't worry about the money. We'll settle it later. Thank you, Varma. I can't tell you how much this means. Kamalaji, you helped us when our daughter was getting married. You gave her your mother's jewelry without a second thought. This is nothing. That's how the car ended up at his farmhouse. Hidden. Safe. Waiting. The rumors reached my house by evening. He brought it up at dinner. Did you hear, Ma? Someone bought a car exactly like yours. Isn't that strange? I looked up calmly. Is it? Yes. Same model, same color. It's at Varma's place apparently. My son looked curious. Why would Varma buy an old car? He shrugged. Who knows? Rich people do strange things. I stayed quiet eating my food. But I could feel her watching me. Over the next few days she became increasingly suspicious. He'd catch me on the phone and ask who I was talking to. Just Lakshmi, Beta. You've been talking to her a lot lately. We're old friends. We talk. She'd see me going through papers and ask what I was looking for. Just organizing, Beta. Organizing what? Old documents. Bills. Things I've been putting off. She didn't believe me. I could see it in her eyes. But she couldn't prove anything. Then one afternoon my son received a phone call. I was in the kitchen when I heard him answer. Hello? Yes, this is he. What? A legal notice? From whom? My heart stopped. I hadn't sent any legal notice. But someone else had. He came into the kitchen, his face pale. Mom, did you contact a lawyer? I turned to face him. Why do you ask? Because I just got a call from someone claiming to be a legal consultant. They said there's been a complaint filed regarding the illegal sale of property. She rushed in. What? Who filed a complaint? They didn't say. They just said we'd be receiving formal notice within the week. Her face went white. This is your mother, isn't it? She's doing this. All eyes turned to me. I stood there calmly. I spoke to a lawyer, yes, to understand my rights. But I didn't file any complaint. Then who did? She demanded. I don't know. Maybe the dealer you sold the car to. Maybe someone else who noticed what happened. I'm not the only one who knows, Beta. The whole neighborhood knows. My son sank into a chair. This is getting out of hand. No, I said quietly. This got out of hand when you sold my car without asking me. The tension in the house became unbearable. He stopped talking to me. Would leave rooms when I entered. Would communicate through my son. Tell your mother dinner is ready. Tell your mother we're going out. My son was caught in the middle, stressed, exhausted. One night he came to my room. Mom, please. Can't we just move past this? Move past what, Beta? The fact that you betrayed my trust? That you let your wife steal from me? She didn't steal. What else would you call it? Taking something that doesn't belong to you. He rubbed his face tiredly. I don't know anymore. I just want peace in this house. So do I, Beta. But peace without respect isn't peace. It's just silence. He looked at me with sad, confused eyes. What do you want, Mom? I want my dignity back. The legal notice arrived 3 days later. Not from me. From Mr. Sharma, the lawyer who had decided to send it as a courtesy warning on my behalf. It was formal, legal, intimidating. It outlined the illegal sale of property. It mentioned potential criminal charges. It requested immediate rectification or legal action would follow. She opened it with shaking hands. I watched from across the room as she read, her face going from pale to red to pale again. This is insane, she whispered. This is absolutely insane. My son read over her shoulder. Mom, is this really necessary? I didn't send it, I said truthfully. Mr. Sharma took it upon himself. He was concerned. Well, tell him to stop being concerned, she shouted. This is family business. Then maybe you should have treated me like family, I said quietly. Silence. She looked at me with something close to hatred. You're enjoying this, aren't you? No, I said honestly. I'm not enjoying any of this. But I won't be walked over either. That night I received a call from Varma. Kamalaji, everything is ready. Whenever you want the car, just let me know. Thank you, Varma. I think it's time. I'll have it delivered tomorrow morning. Early, before anyone expects it. Perfect. I hung up and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Anticipation. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay in bed thinking about everything that had happened. Everything that was about to happen. Part of me felt guilty. But a stronger part of me felt right. I wasn't doing this to hurt anyone. I was doing this to remind them that I existed. That I mattered. That I was still here. The next morning I woke before dawn. I made my tea. I sat by the window. And I waited. Just as the sun began to rise, I heard it. The sound of an engine. So familiar. I looked out. And there was my car. Parked under the neem tree. Exactly where it belonged. She came downstairs an hour later. I heard her footsteps. Heard her stop suddenly. Then a gasp. What the? I stayed in my room listening. She rushed to the window. My son came down alarmed. What's wrong? The car, she whispered. The car is back. What? Your mother's car. It's outside. It's back. I heard him move to the window. Long silence. How is this possible? He said finally. I stepped out of my room and walked calmly down the stairs. They both turned to stare at me. Good morning, I said pleasantly. Ma, how, when? My son couldn't form a complete sentence. I bought it back, I said simply. Her voice was shrill. That's impossible. We sold it. It's gone. You sold it illegally. I bought it back legally. From who? From the dealer you sold it to. Through a friend. She looked like she was about to explode. You've been planning this? This whole time. I've been protecting what's mine. Yes. My son sank onto the sofa. I don't understand. You said you didn't have money. I never said that. You assumed. There's a difference. She started pacing, furious. This is ridiculous. You can't just. I can, I said calmly. And I did. We'll sell it again. No, you won't. She stopped pacing and stared at me. Watch me. I pulled out a set of papers from my pocket. These are updated registration documents. With additional legal safeguards. No one can sell this car without my physical presence and signature, verified by a lawyer. Try to sell it and you'll be arrested for fraud. Her mouth fell open. My son looked stunned. Mom, when did you do all this? Over the past 2 weeks. While you both thought I was just sitting quietly accepting everything. I looked at my daughter-in-law. He thought I was weak. He thought I was too old, too tired, too soft to fight back. You were wrong. Tears filled her eyes. Angry tears. I was trying to help. I was trying to manage this household. By stealing from me? It wasn't stealing. Yes, I said firmly. It was. I turned to my son. Beta, I love you. I always will. But you stood by and let this happen. You chose her side without even listening to mine. You let her erase me piece by piece. And that hurt more than anything. His eyes filled with tears now too. Mom, I'm sorry. I really am. I just thought. You didn't think. That's the problem. I took a deep breath. That car represents my independence. My freedom. My memories of your father. It's not about the money. It's not about pride. It's about respect. And you both forgot that I deserve it. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Thick. Painful. Finally she spoke, her voice small. What do you want from us, Ma? I looked at her steadily. I want respect. I want to be consulted before decisions are made. I want to be treated like a person, not a burden. I want my home back. This is my home too, she said defensively. Yes, it is. And it can be a home for both of us. But not if you keep trying to push me out of it. She looked down. I wasn't trying to push you out. Yes, you were. Maybe you didn't see it that way. Maybe you thought you were helping. But you were erasing me. Tears fell down her cheeks now. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know you are. But sorry isn't enough. Change is. We spent the rest of the morning talking. Really talking. For the first time in months. She admitted she'd felt overwhelmed. That managing the household, the finances, raising a child was hard. That she'd wanted to feel in control of something. But I shouldn't have taken it out on you, she said. I shouldn't have made you feel small. No, I agreed. You shouldn't have. My son apologized too. I should have listened to you, Mom. I should have defended you. I was so focused on keeping peace that I forgot to stand up for what's right. I understand, I said. But now you need to do better. I will. I promise. That afternoon I went outside. I walked to the car. Ran my hand over the hood. It was dusty. It had been sitting idle for weeks. But it was mine. I got in. Sat in the driver's seat. Closed the door. And I breathed. Really breathed. For the first time in so long. The days that followed were different. Not perfect. But different. She started asking my opinion again. About groceries. About meals. About decisions. Ma, I was thinking of changing the curtains. What do you think? Let's look at options together. She started returning my phone calls when friends rang. Ma, Lakshmi called. She wants to know if you're free for lunch tomorrow. Tell her yes. Small changes. But meaningful. My son made efforts too. He started spending more time with me. Asking about my day. Actually listening when I talked. One evening he said, Mom, I want you to teach me how to make your dal. The way Dad used to love it. My heart swelled. I'd love that, beta. We stood in the kitchen together, cooking, talking, laughing. It felt like healing. My grandson was the happiest of all. Dottie, can we go for a drive? Please. Of course, beta. We drove through the neighborhood, windows down, music playing softly. He waved at everyone we passed. I missed this, Dottie. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. One afternoon she came to me while I was reading. Ma, can I ask you something? Of course. She sat down looking nervous. Why didn't you fight back sooner? I closed my book and looked at her. Because I wanted to see if love would be enough. If being kind, being patient would make you see what you were doing. And when it didn't, I chose dignity instead. She nodded slowly. I understand now. I understand why the car mattered so much. Do you? It wasn't about the car. It was about you. About your right to have something of your own. To be independent. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't see that before. I forgive you, I said gently. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means moving forward with wisdom. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I'll do better, Ma. I promise. I believe you. He hugged me then. And I let her. Because healing takes time. But it starts with one step. Months passed. The house settled into a new rhythm. A better rhythm. We shared responsibilities. We made decisions together. We respected each other's space. The car sat under the neem tree, always ready when I needed it. Sometimes I'd just sit in it, even if I wasn't going anywhere. Just to feel that sense of freedom. That sense of self. One morning Mrs. Iyer stopped me while I was getting into the car. Kamala, I just want to say, I'm proud of you. Proud. For standing up for yourself. A lot of women our age, we just accept things. We stay quiet. But you didn't. I couldn't, I said simply. Not this time. You've inspired a lot of us, you know. We're all talking about it. About how important it is to keep our independence, our dignity. I felt a warmth spread through my chest. Thank you, Mrs. Iyer. That means more than you know. I drive every other day now. Sometimes to the market. Sometimes to visit friends. Sometimes just to the countryside where I can breathe and think and remember. And every time I turn that key, every time I hear the engine come to life, I feel it. Freedom. Dignity. Strength. People ask me sometimes, wasn't it hard? Standing up to your own family? And I tell them the truth. Yes. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But was it worth it? Absolutely. Because I learned something important through all of this. You can love people and still set boundaries. You can be kind and still be strong. You can forgive and still demand respect. And you should never, ever let anyone make you feel invisible. I still make tea every morning. I still sit by the window. But now when I look out and see my car, I smile. Not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. My refusal to disappear. My refusal to be erased. My refusal to let anyone tell me I don't matter. Because I do matter. We all do. No matter how old we get. No matter how quiet we've been. We matter. And it's never too late to remind the world of that. I turn 63 next month. My grandson asked me what I want for my birthday. I smiled and said, just a long drive with you, Beta. That's all. Where will we go, Dottie? Anywhere we want, I said. Anywhere we want. Because now I can. Because now I'm free.